Hyperlight Breaker will be here very soon. It's coming to Steam Early Access on January 14th for $30 US, and today I'd like to quickly go over what you can expect from it at launch and eventually moving towards 1.0. It's a co-op open-world roguelite from the creators of Hyperlight Drifter, sort of a very loose prequel to that game with obviously different gameplay and visuals going on. As a breaker, you and your allies will go out and try to restore the world after a devastating war. A villain called the Abyss King has taken over the lands of the Overgrowth, and in order to get to him, you'll have to defeat various smaller bosses called the Crowns that are guarding the Overgrowth secrets. Combat can get frantic as you're faced with hordes of enemies. Movement and traversal is a big part of exploring the world, and all in all, the game looks like a ton of fun from what we've been shown. Over the past few days, Heart Machine has been releasing these little teasers of the different breaker classes we can choose from. First is Lapis, a soldier and scholar from the Northern Realms. And depending on our PsyCom's subclass, which I guess is related to the little drone that follows us around, our stats will vary slightly and we can have a different special power. Vermilion is a hunter, also from the Northern Realms. And Goro from the Land of Light is vicious with a blade. Just based on the character descriptions and designs, without knowing anything else, Goro is my personal favorite. The Overgrowth has been plagued with some sort of curse and is now overrun with monsters. It's made up of different biomes that'll change with each run, hence the whole roguelite thing, and along with these open areas, there will also be labyrinths of some kind. Maybe these are more difficult to navigate with powerful loot at the end, or maybe this is how we access some of the bosses. To make traveling easier and more fun, you get a hoverboard and a glider, which I'll definitely be putting to good use. There are also jump pads, wall dashing, and presumably more skills that we can acquire later into our journey. As far as biomes go, we've seen a snowy area with a towering stone fortress, a more deserty location with rocky plateaus, your sort of standard green fields and forests, this very pink biome. It's sort of hard to tell exactly how many there are just from the trailers, but there is a ton of variation. The Overgrowth also has a lot of great lookout points, and you can frequently see other biomes off in the distance, hence the whole open world thing. Overall, I think Heart Machine nailed it with the visuals and world design. I do really love the pixel art in Hyperlight Drifter, but I think a lot of that same spirit is still here, just in a slightly different form. Moving into combat, your loadout will be very important to your overall strategy for conquering the Overgrowth. There's a post on Steam that goes way more in depth, but to keep things simple, blades are your primaries, rails are your ranged secondaries, and amps are your tertiary weapons. Think extra powerful moves with a cooldown, like this giant pink cube. There's also armor, its weight will affect your movement speed, blade specials that you can activate from your primary weapons to give you a bit more edge, and semi-permanent upgrades called Hollow Bites. You have 5 slots for these, and once you swap one out, it's destroyed forever. Also important to note that any gear can be used with any breaker, so you won't be locked into certain weapons or anything like that. So yeah, a lot to think about when it comes to your loadout, but luckily the game heavily encourages experimentation in order to figure out what works for you and your specific goal on a run. In between runs, you'll return to the Cursed Outpost where you can improve your stats, get new abilities and gear, and most interestingly, decode memories to piece together the stories of the Crown bosses. Obviously, there are a lot of unknowns here, we'll find out soon, yeah, but I am the most curious still about the whole uncovering knowledge to break the curse thing and the general backstory. Then there's also a peculiar statement about how runs work. Quote, unlike most roguelikes which have simple win or lose states at the end of a run, breaker players experience ups and downs throughout the course of a single game cycle. Success and failure are a spectrum of states, not binary. I suspect this has to do with gathering pieces of memory and knowledge that, even if you die, can be used to make new discoveries and help piece the world back together. Aside from that, the Cursed Outpost is full of shopkeepers, blacksmiths, and other artisans with whom you can spend your currency and materials. And you will be building the settlement back up as you progress, which most likely means more NPCs will come, open up shop, and give you different quests and stuff. Hyperlight Breaker is expected to be in early access for at least a year, putting us into an early 2026 1.0 launch if everything goes according to plan. Heart Machine has emphasized the importance of their community's experiences and suggestions, and plan to post regular updates to the Steam page, be responsive in the forums and on Discord, and just generally keep updating us all about new content and what they're currently working on for the game. Initially, it'll have 2 crown bosses to fight, including Dro the Wolf Warrior, so more of those will be added as the story progresses in later updates. There will be more player character skins, loadouts and weapons, NPC animations, music, and of course, all the performance and bug stuff as feedback comes in. So, your pretty standard early access fare, all gameplay, movement, and combat is in and mostly final, just that extra variety that needs to be added, and of course, the story completed. Whether or not you're into buying and playing games before they're finished is totally up to you, but I do think that Hyperlight Breaker is shaping up to be a super fun looking game. Heart Machine's first game is loved by so many people, and I hope that when we do get to revisit this world, we all feel that same kind of magic.